Welcome to Slay the Spire, a roguelike action-adventure strategy deck-based card-collecting turn-based third-person, first-person, TLC, ABC, AoE with extra cheese and mustard, with slight hits of RPG elements in the form of relics. Oh, and it's also a card game you can get on Steam. Oh, and what do you do in Slay the Spire, you ask? You die. Oh, hey, look, I won! You know, Slay the Spire has everything that you can ask for in terms of playstyles. You got Knucklehead, you got Smaller Knucklehead, and of course you got Big Brain, but wait, you also got Smooth Brain, and it just works. Okay, let me actually show you how the game works. Slay the Spire is a roguelike deck-building card game, where you go through floors and you beat bosses and you get relics and you do. Now, because it is a roguelike, everything is randomly generated. The floors, the enemies, the bosses, the relics, your parents, and even the amount of bullshit you get on your deck. Unlike most card games, your deck in Slay the Spire is constantly shifting and transforming, based on how you play each run. Meaning, you could be having the time of your life stabbing people in the dick with your shivs, but then you can pull a full 180 and go chemical warfare on their ass. And there's a lot of sights to see and fuck up in Slay the Spire, but generally your main goal, like I said earlier, is to get to the boss in Act 3, and defeat them to escape the Spire. Or do you? Now, there are a lot of things that can happen in every run because of how random everything is, and we'll be here for hours if I try to explain every single thing to you in a more academic sense. So let's just play a game of Slay the Spire, why don't we? So, when you wake up in the Spire, the first suffering you encounter is this blue whale-looking cutie. This is Nayo. Say hi. Depending on how boned you were in your last run, Nayo can give you a slew of positive buffs to augment your run. Some of them are good, and some of them can go straight to the trash. But generally, you can rely on 2 being neutral bonuses and the other 2 being gambles. Suffering 2. Choosing the route you're going to take. Or more accurately, choosing a route that you want to take and then getting assed around by the elites because your hubris made you think you can fight 3 mini-bosses in a gauntlet. That's right, shithead. But choosing the correct route can make or break your run. It's important to plan ahead so you can manage your cards, health, and positive buffs as efficiently as possible. Third suffering. Choosing your build. Now, you may feel a bit intimidated seeing the card reward screen for the first time because of all the things that you can choose from, but the important thing to remember when suffering the Spire is to choose a build and try your best to stick to that build. Oh, what are the different types of builds, you ask? Well, there are so many. You got Exponential Strength build, your Shiv deck, you got your Judgment deck, your Poison build, and my personal favorite, the hurt yourself so many times to hurt everyone else around you, but also get really strong, and that's just a few of the builds that you could choose from. Trust me, there's a lot. And don't even get me started on the potions, because it's a relatively short explanation. There are potions, they do different stuff, and they could be the difference between a 5-minute run and a 50-minute run. The general idea behind builds is choosing a specific playstyle and choosing your cards accordingly. This is not a game where picking up cards willy-nilly will get you to victory, so be smart. Control your deck. The Fortnite of Suffering. Elites and relics, or what I like to call dick bags in Pokemons, cause you gotta catch them all. Of all the things in the game that mess with you and drastically change your deck, these 2 aspects are the biggest part of that equation. There are dozens of relics in this game, some you achieve by killing elites, others you receive from random events, and the rare ones you get from bosses. On top of the amount of relics are Relic Synergies. Basically, when a Papa Relic and a Mama Relic make a good baby relic, you get a Relic Synergy. A classic example of this is the Corruption Dead Branch deck, a card that makes your skills cost 0 but exhausts them, paired to the relic that gives you a random card for every exhausted card. Now that's just a match made in heaven. At the end of the day, you'll be juggling relics as much as you'll be juggling cards and potions. Hold it! Oh yeah, I almost forgot about these assholes. Now, if you really want to catch them all, elites are a surefire way to get relics, but they also challenge every single aspect of your knowledge in the game. Health, card synergies, and buff-debuff relationships are all present in elite fights, so pick them wisely. And it seems you've reached the final suffering. Miraculously, you were able to build your deck, get all the right buffs and synergies, your relics all on your first run. Well, now you have to fight the boss. And this is the important part of the bosses in this game. Learn their movesets. It is inevitable for you to lose the first time, but that's part of learning their movesets. The only way you're going to survive boss fights, especially in the 3rd act, is to learn how these bosses act. Once you got that down, you'll be slapping that slime ass no problem. At the end of it all, your main goal is to beat the Act 3 boss, to defeat the Spire. But the secret here is, do you actually beat the Spire after Act 3? Well, I guess you're gonna have to find that out on your own. And that's it. You repeat the cycle, you learn more every run, and you unlock more relics as you play the game. You've officially suffered secret suffering. It's no surprise to me, I am my own worst enemy, because at the end of the day, Slay the Spire is still a roguelike, meaning there is a huge factor that is RNG. It can fuck you over and it can be your salvation. But the reason I'm putting this in as a secret suffering and not a main suffering is because there's something to be said about how far knowledge and skill goes in a game like Slay the Spire, where you're constantly supposed to be 4 parallel universes ahead of your enemies. Yes, RNG can be horrible sometimes, but don't let it get you down, because your skill and your experience is what ultimately dictates your game. So, pick up your hat, cowboy, and get out there and slap some cards. As a footnote, I do hope you give Slay the Spire a try. It's by far one of the most polished games I've played, and while it is already in patch 1.4, I still think more people should play it. It's a very steep learning curve, but with a little motivation and hard work, you'll be crushing the Spire in no time.